Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus. You are tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and my main man,
JC.
John Coleman.
Dio, what is popping?
You are back in the hot seat, as Rocky calls it.
Shout out Rocky. Shout out Rocky and his disciples, should we call
Shout
them.
out to Rocky and the Disciples. That episode was fire.
Yeah, it was a full-length feature movie.
It was, as you call it, John, it was an
full-length.
hour and 20 minutes. We basically took what we originally said was going to be a 25-minute episode.
You originally said.
And we tripled it, and we still kept going.
Yeah, it was great.
Yes.
I hope the people enjoyed it.
Hey, Rocky and what he does.
It's
yes,
God's work.
It is God's work.
The mortgage God's work.
It is. As you put in the description on the YouTube channel, it is God's work.
Yeah.
And like when I think of our new website, tloponline.com, I start thinking about how we can incorporate what Rocky does on TLOP.
Yeah, we can.
Yes. But hey, that episode, again, for people who missed it, basically, if you know someone who is struggling to pass the SAFE exam, the NMLS exam, or if you are planning on taking and studying for the NMLS exam,
Yeah, you owe it to yourself to watch this episode.
watch that episode and then check out Rocky's Facebook group and check out Rocky's website.
MLOStudyBuddy.com is the website, and MLO Study Buddy Let's Pass the Safe Exam is the group on Facebook.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And what I love, and good job remembering that. Do you remember how to pronounce Rocky's last name?
Chill. I don't even know what it starts with.
L.
Lagorcio.
Lagorcio. There you go,
Come on,
John.
man.
Look at that.
Come on, every once in a
Yeah.
while.
JC had a couple IPAs at lunch, and he can still pronounce.
My reticular activator.
There you go. No, so our goal with partnering with someone like Rocky is one, just looking at his fans and the disciples and how much they love him.
Passion.
Like that dude came to Orlando, Florida, and then after he left us, he met up with like 20 of his, he calls them his family.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. But anyhow, like, so Rocky's helping people get started past that barrier of entry, but then after they get their NMLS, like, well, now what? That's where we get to step in.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So today we're gonna stay on that same topic today
Okay.
of mortgage loan originator.
Oh, yeah.
Which, by the way, I don't want every episode that we do to be mortgage loan originator. Like we've done one of our most popular episodes was what? What's the title? Do you remember episode 41? The title of it?
So you want to be a loan officer.
Yeah, so you want to be a loan officer. I want to lean into that, but I want to start talking about so you want to be a commercial lender. So you want to be an insurance agent. So you want to sell life insurance. So you want to be a financial advisor.
There you go.
Yes. So we have coming up in the next couple weeks, my buddy Drew Abear,
Shout out Drew
who
Abear.
manages commercial lenders, who's been a successful commercial lender for the past 20 years of his career. We're going to put him in the hot seat.
Okay.
We're going to kick you out.
Solid.
And I'm going to interview Drew about like what it takes to start a career or to establish a successful career as a commercial lender.
Okay.
And then you and I just had lunch with our buddy Brett Young from Urban Young.
Shout out Brett Young from Urban Young.
Yeah, Urban Young Insurance. And Brett has a pretty phenomenal podcast of his own called Be Extraordinary.
Yep.
And I had the luxury of being a guest on Be Extraordinary. I think that episode doesn't drop for a couple weeks with them. They don't produce content the way that we do in terms of the cadence. But nonetheless, I asked Brett today, I'm like, hey, could you come on and let's do So You Want to Be an Insurance Agent? He's like, yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah.
So I do want to continue to lean into that. But today's episode is we're going to piggyback off of the success we had having Rocky in here, all the way from Long Island, New York. Yeah. And it's actually a bit of a suggestion from, do you remember our girl, Toby Moyle?
Shout out Toby Moyle. I do remember.
Yeah, so we had Toby on some of the earlier episodes that we did. And Toby's a phenomenal businesswoman. She's a ex-mortgage professional. She is a public speaker. She is a life coach, a leadership coach. In fact, her company is Life is a Ladder.
Yep.
But nonetheless, and I actually talked about Toby about having her back on to just do an episode on leadership.
Yeah.
But Toby's the inspiration for today's episode because she texted me and she goes, hey, long time, hope you're doing well, blah, blah, blah. I think you should do an episode where you talk about transitioning out of a refi market and into a purchase market.
Dustin,
I thought about
Dustin
it.
pauses. He takes a step back, takes a deep breath.
And I said, that's a terrible idea.
Yeah, you did.
That's exactly what I said.
Via text.
And no, I didn't. I called her this morning.
Oh, my goodness.
I called her this morning.
Okay.
And the reason why I said that, and you're going to have to bleep that out, John, and
No,
I
I'm going to leave it.
apologize.
I'm going to leave it as an
You
Easter
can't.
egg.
I just yelled that. that EQ just went up into the red zone.
He probably is.
But
Fix it.
nah, here's my thing. For you all who are just started tuning into us since we hit 200 episodes, we love you. We appreciate you and thank you. We hope you found our website, theloanofficerpodcast.com or TLOPonline.com. Because on that, you can see every episode. You can have all of our social handles, et cetera, right? But if you just now found us, this episode is for you because maybe you need to hear this message. Now, for our T-Lop troops, our troopers out there, our T-Loppers out there, they've been listening long enough. We're going on 2 years now, John. We hit the 2-year anniversary. We're 200 plus episodes.
They've heard this message before once or twice, maybe.
They've heard this episode once or twice before because they listen when we promote becoming an advisor, not an order taker.
Yeah.
When we tell them to focus on building real relationships with referral partners in your community, where you are the subject matter expert of all things home loans, and you give advice, almost financial advice to potential home buyers. That if you've been listening and tuning in, you don't need this episode because refis to you are exactly how we teach them, which when you have a refi market like we saw in 2020 or 2021, or like we saw back in 2013 and 2014, or like we saw back in 2004 and 2005, when you're in a refi market like that, what it does for the consummate professional who has built a sustainable book of business based on referrals of purchase business, people trying to purchase homes, refis are why you buy the 5 series and not the 3 series. Refis are why you fly first class versus why you would fly coach. Refis are maybe why you went to Vail or Beaver Creek for a ski vacation and not just the local mountain around the corner, 20-minute drive from your house where you're basically skiing on ice, right? That's what refis do. But refis don't make or break what we do for a living.
You don't know what you're talking about. I came into this market, I had no idea what I was doing. I'm super new. I came to refis, I crushed it last year. I'm going to do the same thing this year.
Maybe not. Maybe not. Here's the thing. Loan officers, mortgage professionals, because this goes for processors and underwriters and anyone who supports the sales and origination platform of the mortgage industry. When you work for a company or in an environment that is heavy refi, the sustainability is non-existent. And there's massive ebbs and flows of we have to hire, now we have to fire, now we have to hire again, now we have to lay off again. And it's just not a safe environment to operate in. You lack predictability. So you may have very well entered into the mortgage industry and you did a bunch of refis. Cool. You got a lot of at-bats. You now have a decent sized past client database. You kind of know what you're talking about. Maybe you learn how to calculate income. Maybe you were able to develop a skill set, but you're still nowhere close to where you need to be. Now, you will still do refis in 2022. In 2023 and 2024 and every year to come, because ultimately refinances make up a portion of our business. In fact, I would tell someone if last year and the year before, if you didn't have at least 25% of your business being refis, like you did too many purchases.
You left meat on the bone.
You left meat on the bone. Yeah, you weren't working hard enough.
I have a question for you. And if you were to split out the entire, I guess the economy, the ecosystem of mortgages, how is it split up between like purchases, refis, like in the whole market as a totality, would you say?
What it should be, the world according to me, 80-20. 80% of what you do should be purchase, 20% should be refi. That's this year, that's next year. Now, when you're in a refi boom, like we saw in 2020 and 2021, again, if you want to be sustainable, if you want to be long-term, if you want to prevent the massive swings of the pendulum, even in a year like last year, you should have been 50-50. 50% purchase, 50% refi. And if you were 50% refi, you should have been freaking the F out come about September. That's when you and I, John, started talking about this. That's why when I jokingly, and by the way, lovingly said to Toby, bad idea, I'm like, bad idea because A, it's overdone, and B, we've kind of already done it, and C, for those of us that listen, or for those listeners that tune in and have been tuned in for the past year or two,
nothing new.
It's nothing new. But then Toby's like, she goes, but, and thank you for this compliment, but she goes, D.O., you and JC are just scratching the surface from where you're going. You all know that, right? And I'm like, yeah, we kind of have an idea. She goes, no, I'm serious. Like, she threw us a huge compliment. She's like, the fact that you haven't hit 10,000 subs on YouTube, let alone you don't have 50,000.
Yeah.
She's like, it's kind of baffling. I'm like, well, we'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
She's like, so what we have to understand, and why we're talking about it, and I didn't just discount it, is she's like, you have people who are just now finding you, and they need to hear this message because they weren't tuned into episode 97 or 52 or 180.
Right.
I'm like, all right, cool. So we're going to do this. So to answer your question, last year and the year before, it should have been 50-50. And even if it was 50-50, you should have been freaking out towards the end of third quarter, beginning of fourth quarter of last year, preparing for this coming year, knowing that rates were going up, knowing refis were going to dry up, knowing that 50% of your business was going to be cut in half, or you are going to not have 25% of the business that you once had. So you're going to have to get out there and build real relationships, which we'll talk about that a little bit further along in this episode. Well, what do you mean by build real relationships? What should you be doing? And if I'm going to focus on doing purchases, what type of company should I be aligned with? Right? Because there are people who have successful careers, and I deem success as you get up every day, you go to work, and you earn a paycheck, and you're proud of that paycheck, and you like what you do, and you like who you do it with. Okay? That would be successful. Right? You have a successful career. But like a company like Better.com last year, if my research is somewhat accurate, they were like 95% refi.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, a company like Rocket was very much probably 90% refi. A company like Wells Fargo was probably 80% refi. Right? So there are companies, and therefore there are mortgage professionals who work for those companies
that's all they know.
That's all they know. And that's a scary world to operate in because it's predicted based on market movements.
So if there's a loan officer that's coming in and all they deal with have dealt with is refis, and they get like a purchase file in, is it like a totally different language, or like, what do I do with this? Or is it?
In a way it is, right? Because when you do a refi, you can't really screw it up, right? There's no seller involved. There are no two realtors who are relying on their commission, and that commission is what's going to be used to feed their family.
So you're dealing with like half the people literally when you do the refi. If you want to,
yeah. But you start thinking about the human element. Yeah, there's no seller who's trying to buy another house, and if you don't close on the buyer who's buying the seller's home on time, they could lose the home that they're trying to buy. Then there's stuff's in a moving van, and there's movers, and they're trying to get their kids enrolled in school, but you can't get your kid enrolled in school until you've moved, and you can't move if the buyer who's buying your home didn't close on time.
So more moving parts.
And there's contractual dates. You must have the loan application made by this date. You must have your conditional approval by this date, appraisal ordered and backed by this date. And if you don't close by this date, then the buyer jeopardizes losing their deposit plus the home. Right. So you could cost someone tens of thousands of dollars by screwing up. You could make many people angry, which is going to tarnish your brand name in the marketplace. So a purchase definitely is different, and it's more difficult. If I tell someone yes on a refinance and it gets to underwriting and they get denied,
just start over, kind of.
All that happens is they're not going to save that $300 a month. All that happens is they're not going to be able to raise the capital that they needed to put in a new pool. Yes, that person may be angry, but I didn't put them in a world of hurt. If I screwed up and told you, John Coleman, that you're pre-approved for a mortgage to go purchase a home, and you spent money on an appraisal, on a home inspection, that's probably a couple grand right there combined. You gave the seller a $5,000 or $10,000 security deposit. We call it an escrow deposit, or your acronyms sheet that you're putting up on online.com. EMD, right? Earnest money deposit. You could lose that, and you lose the home because now the seller is not going to sell it to you, and they're going to sell it to somebody else. And you just told your apartment complex that you're breaking the lease, and now you have to go find a new apartment, and that new apartment wants first month, last month security deposit, but you're out two grand between inspections and appraisals. You're out the $5,000 or $10,000 that the seller kept of your deposit.
So there's multiple. Once you hit
you're
one
in
domino,
a world of hurt. So yes, the answer is yes. But for those loan originators, for those mortgage processors, for those underwriters who understand how to work in a purchase environment, what comes with that is the ultimate level of success. These are the places that make the most money. These are the places that have the least amount of layoffs. These are the places where you have the greatest job security, right? It's the way that this industry, the way that it was taught to me, the way that I teach it should be taught is in a manner that it's all about the purchase business. Refis are gravy. Refis are cherries on top. They're sprinkles.
Whatever. It sounds like refis are bowling with the bumpers on. Refi, when you say it to me, it's like playing video games on easy, and then when I really try to do something hard, it's like, whoa, what is this? It's like, it's the game. You've just been playing it on easy, and you haven't been playing the real game.
That's a perfect analogy. I love that analogy. Bowling with bumpers, or we used to give my son, who it's his birthday today. Shout out
Jackson,
yeah, happy
17,
birthday,
bro.
happy birthday.
Yeah.
But we used to give him crap because whatever games he was playing, he would buy he'd get birthday money and then go buy all the cheats or the codes.
The cheat codes, yeah.
Yeah, we're like, he's like spending $100 on cheat codes. So yeah, it's kind of like that. It's in a way. But here's another analogy that I use, because here's what I don't want. I don't want someone to be discouraged because you've been in the business for the past 9 months, 18 months, 36 months, and all you've done is refis. That's okay. That is okay. You're still further along than the person who's in Rocky's class trying to get licensed.
Facts.
You still have clients. You still have experience. You've had at-bats, right? You now speak with a certain level of confidence that you would have never had. And you earned a paycheck. We all work for the paycheck. So it's okay, but it's time to make a change.
Fact.
And that's what Toby wanted us to talk about. So we'll get there, Toby. Let's talk about making that change. And if your only job opportunity, right? So like our girl, Shelby Peel, shout out to Shelby. Shelby's a fan. She has been for the past year, connected with her over a year ago. She just landed her gig with Rocket Mortgage. So shout out to Shelby, shout out to Rocket. It's a great place to start your career. For some people, it's a great place to
work forever.
Work forever. Yeah. But for Shelby, and I don't know because I didn't connect with her deep enough on this, she was really hoping she'd get put on the purchase team. And I just shared with her, I'm like, look, Shelby, even if you don't get put on the purchase team, it's okay. You're still going to work for the nation's #1 lender who has phenomenal training, and they're still going to give you at-bats and opportunities to earn a paycheck. And that paycheck's going to allow you to start a college savings fund for your kids or take your husband on this awesome cruise that maybe you want to do. So don't knock if your only opportunity is to go work for a refi shop, especially when you're newer at your craft and newer in the game. So I remember being in 6th grade, and I had this girlfriend, John. Her name was Amy.
Shout out Amy.
Maybe not. We're not using last names, okay?
No, that's fine.
We are not using last names. And this analogy is kind of like why I'm going to tell you it's okay if the only job that was offered to you is go work for a refi shop and you're new at your craft. It's okay to take it. And the analogy I use is thinking about me being in 6th grade and Amy wanted to be my girlfriend. So you know what I said?
Yes.
Yes.
Shout out to you having a girlfriend in 6th grade.
Yeah. And the reason why I said yes
is because you were hot and popular and all the girls wanted you?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
Not yet, John. I'm still striving for that. I'm 43 years old and I'm still going for that.
Don't worry,
I'm not giving up hope.
Okay.
I let you put it out in the universe. I'm not going to give up hope. No. So I said yes because that was the only girl willing to be my girlfriend.
That is also a real scenario for a lot of individuals.
Yeah, she probably wasn't the cutest. She probably wasn't the nicest.
But hey, she liked you, so you liked her back.
Yeah, she was probably into weird things that kids get picked on these days for it and bullied.
Yeah, but now.
But I said yes.
And it was great.
Because it was either no girlfriend or I had a girlfriend. I wanted a girlfriend, so
paycheck
Amy
or no
it
paycheck.
was. Yeah.
But you didn't stay with Amy, I noticed.
No.
I noticed that you did not stay with Amy.
It was 6th grade, John. That relationship lasted 2 weeks.
I did it. The playground breakup is savage.
Yeah. I think we passed a note.
Was it the note breakup?
It was the note.
Was it mutual? Was it in class? I have to know.
I have no idea, John.
Oh my God, I wish.
I have no idea. Okay. That was, you're going on 30 years ago now.
Call it 3 decades. The kids.
3 decades.
3 decades.
Yeah, 3 decades. But no, so I use that funny story of why did I let Amy become my girlfriend, because she was the only opportunity I had and I wanted a girlfriend. Sometimes when you're younger in your career, you got to do it. But like at some point, I want you to know. Again, if you're tuning in for the first time, thank you.
Thank you.
Subscribe.
Like.
Share. Yep. All of that.
Yeah.
Here we go. But you want to build a career where you're an advisor. You want to build a career where you are referred as a subject matter expert to people who are looking to buy homes.
Right.
We do refis. Again, if 20% of your book of business is not refis, you're not trying hard enough. There's always refinances out there, whether it's debt consolidation, whether it's home improvement, people getting divorced, that forces a refi. Like there's people have kids going off to college, they need money. It's a great way to raise money through a cash out refi. People have record numbers of equity. Like there's reasons to refinance. So it should always be a part of your book of business. But if it's more than 20%, then you're doing something that I would say, hey, you might want to second guess yourself. So to Toby's point, and we'll wrap up the episode on this. So what should you be doing, right? Like, what do I need to do? Well, first and foremost, you better work for a company that knows how to close a purchase. Like their systems and processes need to be one in which they can get loans closed on time, every time, and quickly.
So when you say that, I've heard you say that before. There's instances where the loan officer could do everything in his or her power correctly, do everything, and then hand it over to like their company, and the company drops the ball.
If your company's taking more than 3 days to underwrite the file, that's going to be difficult for you to consistently close loans on time.
That's egg on your face. It's not necessarily
correct. Yeah, these are things as a seasoned professional, you can choose who you hang your hat with. You can choose who you team up with. Okay, so you need to work for a company that they prioritize purchases, that they are built and equipped and staffed to where they can close loans on time, every time, and quickly. Quickly is 30 days or less, period. 30 days or less, period. You should be able to submit a file for underwriting, have that file underwritten in 2 to 3 days, and then when you have your conditional approval and you submit your conditions need to be reviewed within 1 to 2 days, and they need to be pro sales, pro realtor, pro builder, pro referral source. Okay, first and foremost. Second, the leader that you work under, he or she needs to be able to coach you on how to properly go out and build relationships with referral sources. And they need to be able to coach you because either they still do it, which is my preference, meaning they're down in the trenches with you, or they used to do it at a very high level and they still know that skill set, so they can role play with you. And usually they lead by example. Well, what do you mean by lead by example? Well, if I should be hosting client events, whether it's renting a bus and taking it to the local casino, renting a bus and taking it to the local baseball game, whether it's teaching a lunch and learn or hosting a happy hour or renting out a movie theater, all things that we can do to interact with referral sources and our circle of influence and our past clients, your sales leader needs to be leading you by example. They need to be providing those type of events and that type of mentorship, not just telling you what to do, but showing you how to do it. Like that's what you should be looking for. So that's the first thing that I think anyone should do is make sure the company that you're tied in with can actually support what you're trying to do. And then the sales leader that you're tied into actually mentors you and coaches you and supports you to go out and build those relationships.
Is there a change in mentality that needs to take place if like you focused on refis and now you want to start dipping your toes into the purchase market? Like what's the mentality you need to have when making that switch?
That's a great question. It really is. Because it's very easy for a refi expert to turn into a hustler mentality. Everything's about the deal.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to get the deal. Let me go get that deal. Let me get that loan locked, that loan apt, so I can get it closed. That closing's worth X amount of dollars. When you're focused on the purchase, it truly is about helping people. It truly is. When you're talking about your referral sources, and I don't care if the referral source is someone that you met at a chamber of commerce and it's a business owner. When you have lunch with that business owner, it should be about, hey, John, how can I bring value to your business? How can I help promote your business? Now, in return, you're going to let the business owner, John, know how he or she can promote your business.
Right.
When you meet with the CPA, it should be about teaching the CPA about how you can bring value to their business, how you can refer them clients. Yeah. When you meet with a financial advisor, when you meet with a realtor, when you meet with a builder, it needs to be about helping them ultimately so that they can help you. But it's about helping them. When you talk to a prospective client, it's about helping them not just qualify for a home loan, but figure out is now the right time. Are they in a financial position to actually go out and buy a house? And it's not just about qualifying for a loan, but are they getting the right loan for their financial needs, wants, and goals? So you very much are an advisor. And I think that's the mental approach. If there's a switch you have to make, it's no longer a hustle. And by the way, it should have never been a hustle. We did an episode a few back where like I threw out, this is more Wall Street than it is Bourbon Street. Yeah, and it is. Bourbon Street would be a straight hustle, a straight grind. Think stereotypical used car sales. Think when you were back in 6th grade and your mom would go to the local Costco, buy a box of blow pops, so you take them to school and you sell them for 25 cents a piece. Yeah. That was a hustle. Yeah, we hustle, but we're more on the Wall Street side of things, not the Bourbon Street side of things when it comes to that hustle. We have a storefront. We're not operating out of the back of our trunk, right? If you're using those types of analogies. So yeah, you change that mindset. You find a way to become an advisor. By the way, you get education. We've had Dave Savage on the show. Buy his product, Mortgage Coach. Learn how to use Mortgage Coach to be an advisor to the consumer, right? So read books, whether it's Gary Keller's Millionaire Next Door or it's Michael Mayer's 7 Levels of Communication. Read books and attend seminars and trainings that are geared towards real estate agents becoming successful so that you can learn those ideas and share them. Like Keller Williams has a class called Bold. I think it's a great idea for a mortgage loan originator to find a way to pay to go through Bold.
Right.
You get to learn what realtors are learning. Now you can take the knowledge that you generated. Do you generate knowledge?
Yeah.
Accumulated.
Sure.
That you accumulated, and then you can start sharing it. That's bringing value, right? So we talk a lot in the mortgage industry about calling on realtors. Call on realtors, call on realtors, call on realtors. We're going to do an episode next, right after this, where it's not all about the realtors. It's referral sources. Now, little teaser, little spoiler alert, I do believe that realtors should make up 50% of your referral sources.
Yeah, they do matter.
That is old school, sure. Call me old school, but it works. I know dozens of mortgage millionaires. They built their book of business on the backs of supporting the real estate community. But there are other referral sources that you can go out and generate relationships with. Our next episode is going to be all about that.
Word.
Right? But if you're trying to transition, to wrap this up, Toby's like, how do you transition from a refi world to a purchase world? First and foremost, never ever let yourself fall into that trap again. If you're in it, it's okay. High five. Hopefully made a whole bunch of money, gained a whole bunch of experience, and you have the names and numbers of all those clients you helped because now they're your database.
Right.
Now you can call all of those people and start soliciting referrals, asking them if they were to ever buy or sell a home, what realtor would they use? And at which point you're building your network of realtors you're going to reach out to start finding ways to bring them value so that hopefully they refer you people looking to purchase homes.
Yep.
Right? By the way, that's a little sales tip or trick. Write it down and use it if you're coming from a refi shop. But now that you've learned that longevity is built by focusing on being referred and being purchase focused, now you can change the mindset, become an advisor, look to bring value. And it takes time. You and I are so far along in this podcast, but we're barely scratching the surface. 2 years.
Yeah.
It's taken us 2 years to get to this part. Imagine what the next 2 years are going to be like.
Rocket ship.
Yeah, exponential growth. Every business operates that way. So if you're starting off and making that shift, please understand it's not going to be
It's not instant.
No, it doesn't turn overnight.
It's a battleship, not a speedboat, ladies and gentlemen.
It's just like John said, there's a battleship and not a speedboat. But you need to every single day, and we had this on the website called Dominate the Ones.
Yeah.
I just made you make it freemium because you had made it premium, meaning only a premium member, someone who pays $25 a month, could actually have access to it. I think Dominate the Ones is so important.
Yeah, everyone should have access.
Everyone should have access. It's on tloponline.com, sales tools. It's under trackers and worksheets. That's also where you find all the cool training videos that John has created with my likeness, but it's John's creation. So if you don't like it, blame John. Don't blame me.
Right.
But no, Dominate the Ones means every single day when you come to work, you're going to talk to somebody who wants a mortgage. I don't care if the credit score is 420 or 820. I don't care if they're looking to buy or refi. You just talk to somebody who wanted a mortgage. You're going to schedule an appointment with someone who can refer you consistent business, and you're going to go on an appointment with someone who can refer you consistent business. If you can do those three things, you're winning the day. If you add in one handwritten thank you note and you offer to give someone a free mortgage review,
Watch out now.
now you're dominating the day, which is why it's called Dominate the Ones. When you're trying to shift out of a refi world and into a purchase world, understand it's going to take time and you're going to have to dominate the ones. But if you put your nose down and you stick it out, put blinders on, and you say your finish line is going to be December 31st of 2022, this would allow you to get out there and have roughly 100 one-on-one appointments with potential long-term referral partners. Those are realtors, those are builders, those are CPAs, those are business owners, those are financial advisors, divorce attorneys, but you got to get out there and do it. And you have to become an advisor, position yourself as an advisor, and look to bring value to every person you meet.
Well said.
I'm Dustin Owen. He's John Coleman. If you ever want to connect with me individually, I'm all over LinkedIn. It's the best way to reach me. I'm Dustin Owen on LinkedIn. If you ever want to contact John Coleman, Google him. His first name is John. His last name is Coleman.
Good luck.
And good luck. The website is tloponline.com or theloanofficerpodcast.com. We're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple, or anywhere where you find audio podcast. We love it when you subscribe. We love it when you give us reviews. And we sure as hell love it when you share us.
Yes, sir.
That's all the time we have for you today. We will catch you on the next episode where we are going to talk about it's more than just calling on realtors. Peace.